Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oral questions. Question orale. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The accounting firm, M&P, reveals this week that roughly half of Canadians are less than $200 away from being able to pay their bills every month. This means almost bankruptcy for almost half of our population. That's the case after 7 years of inflationary policy from this government. What they're doing today, increasing taxes by tripling the carbon tax on gas and house heating. Will he cancel his plan to triple the tax? The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, today I'd like to start with some good news. We have a solution that everyone is unanimous on in this House. It's the inflation tax relief. Yesterday, we unanimously voted in favor of this measure, and I hope that they will be able to vote this week for this necessary payment for Canadians. Thank you. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
MNP reported this week that almost half of Canadians are $200 from insolvency. That means that they're about to default on a debt or other legal payment. They can't afford groceries. 4 and 5 families have had to cut their diets to pay their bills, and 9 in 10 young people without a home say they'll never afford one. The Liberal solution to all this is to raise taxes on paychecks and on energy, including by tripling the carbon tax on gas, heat, and groceries. Will they cancel their plan to triple the tax?
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our government knows that many Canadians are struggling today with the cost of living, and we do have a Liberal solution. The GST tax credit that will give up to nearly $500 to Canadian families. 11 million households will be supported. And you know what else is good news, Mr. Speaker? That's not just a Liberal solution. That is a solution unanimously supported by all members of this House. I'm looking forward to that measure coming on third reading to the House so we can get that support to Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Problem is, the government wants to tax it all away. In fact, they want to triple the carbon tax on gas, heat, and groceries. This at a time when Vancouver's gas prices hit $2.40 a litre. And we learned today that Ontario will soon have a 10-cent a litre sudden spike in gas prices. This is exactly the wrong time for a tax hike. Will the government cancel its plan to triple the tax?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've already spoken today about one part of our government's solution that now enjoys support from all members of this House, and that is the GST tax credit. And I'd like to take this opportunity to call on all members of this House to support the other 2 elements of our plan. The $500 payment, one-off payment, to help Canadians struggling to pay their rent. Surely that makes sense to everyone. And supporting Canadian kids to be able to go to the dentist. Who in this House thinks a child under 12 shouldn't go to the dentist just because their parents can't afford it? I hope we'll all support these wise measures.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
1,000 days ago today, the IRGC, a terrorist group, murdered 55 Canadian citizens. Yet, 1,000 days later, it is perfectly legal for that same terrorist organization to raise money, coordinate, plan, and act right here in Canada. Unbelievable. Why?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
I want to be unequivocally clear that we condemn the downing of PS 752. We stood with those families. We unequivocally condemn the brutal murder of Mahsa Amini, and we stand with her family and with all of the women who are marching for their rights, Mr. Speaker. I want to be clear that Canada will never be a safe haven for any IRGC operative, for anyone who supports terrorists. We have taken tangible, consequential action, and we will continue to deliver consequences so that we can stand up for human rights here and around the world.
That's the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
But Canada is a safe haven for this terrorist group, which killed 55 Canadian citizens by shooting down a civilian aircraft. The government has the legal authority today to list that group as a terrorist entity, banning it from raising money, operating, coordinating, or in other ways existing here in this country. 1,000 days after this murder of our citizens, they have not done so. Why?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would hope that all members are united in standing with the families of PS 752, which is what we did right from the outset by repatriating bodies so that the families could grieve with them, which we did by creating pathways so that families could be reunited here in Canada, which is what we are going to continue to do in calling for consequences, real tangible consequences for those perpetrators of the downing of PS 752. Mr. Speaker, we have listed the IRGC codes for us. We have ensured that Iran is listed as a state that supports terrorism, and we will deliver more sanctions to stand up for human rights here and around the world.